What if the body was never meant to be your only home? What if, beyond the layers of skin and bone, there existed a luminous double of yourself, capable of stepping out, traveling vast distances, and returning with memories not born of dreams, but of other realms? There are those who whisper that we were never meant to be caged within the flesh, that the soul, long before it wore the name human, was a traveler, free, untethered, and eternal. And though we have forgotten this art, buried beneath distractions and disbelief, the truth remains, waiting to be reawakened. Tonight, we reopen a forgotten doorway. Astral projection, also known as the out-of-body experience, is not merely a fantasy from New Age books or paranormal TV shows. It is a practice older than language itself. From the mystery schools of ancient Egypt to the sacred rites of Tibetan monks, from Gnostic scriptures to the teachings of Sufi mystics, humans have long known that the soul can leave the body and return. But how? And why? That's what we're here to explore. This video is not theory alone. You won't just hear mystical ideas, you'll learn how to walk the very first steps yourself. We'll begin with the ancient context that gave birth to this sacred practice, then move into the mechanics of separation, the structure of the astral world, and finally, the practical techniques, clear, safe, and powerful that can help you begin your own journey beyond the veil. This is not about escapism. It's about awakening to a larger reality. Because once you experience even a glimpse of what lies beyond the physical, you will never see this world the same way again. Now, close your eyes just for a moment. Feel the breath enter you. Notice the space behind your eyes. That flicker you just felt, that was you, on the edge of remembering. Let's begin. Long before science wrapped the human experience in measurable data, there were those who knew, not through microscopes or equations, but through direct, intimate experience. The ancients did not debate the existence of the soul. To them, the soul was a traveler, a witness, and most importantly, a mover between realms. Astral projection, in its truest form, was not viewed as a parlor trick or a supernatural oddity. It was a rite of passage, a sacred art, a proof of one's readiness to look beyond the illusion of material life. The ancient Egyptians referred to the Ba, a part of the soul that could move freely between worlds, depicted as a bird with a human head. They believed that during sleep or ritual, the Ba could leave the body, survey the lands of the living and the dead, and return with wisdom. Their tombs were inscribed with spells and instructions for guiding this journey, including protective measures for safe return. To them, astral travel was as real as walking through a city gate. In the East, the yogis of India spoke of the siddhis, mystical powers attained through disciplined meditation. Among these was pratishtha, the ability to leave the body and travel in the astral or subtle planes. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, one of the foundational texts of yogic philosophy, describes how the mind, when utterly still and focused, can detach from the physical form and explore other dimensions of existence. Likewise, Tibetan monks have long practiced dream yoga, a form of lucid dreaming that becomes a training ground for conscious out-of-body experiences. For them, mastering the art of astral travel prepares the practitioner for death, where the soul must navigate the bardo, the intermediate realm between lives. In the West, the Hermetic tradition, a lineage of mystical teachings attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, explored the structure of the cosmos as layers or planes, from the gross material to the sublime divine. The Kabbalion, a modern Hermetic text, hints at these planes of existence, emphasizing that the physical is but the densest of many. According to Hermetic wisdom, as above, so below. What happens in the subtle affects the physical and vice versa. The soul, therefore, is not bound. It merely needs to remember how to move. Even Plato, the philosopher so often claimed by rationalists, spoke of the soul's ability to rise beyond the senses and into the world of forms, a realm more real than this shadowland we call reality. His myth of tells of a soldier who dies, travels the cosmos, and returns to speak of what lies beyond death. Though modern readers may view it as metaphor, esoteric schools have long treated such stories as literal accounts of astral journeys. And it wasn't just mystics and philosophers. In the early 20th century, secret societies like the Theosophical Society and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn taught astral projection as part of their initiatory path. Helena Blavatsky described leaving the body to access the Akashic Records, a cosmic archive of all human history. Aleister Crowley, controversial though he was, developed complex rituals designed to trigger controlled separation from the body, allowing the magician to converse with spiritual intelligences beyond the veil. All of these traditions, scattered across time and culture, point to one underlying truth. The body is not a prison, it is a vessel, and the soul, it remembers how to fly. But this art requires more than belief. It requires practice, discipline, and reverence. In the next section, we'll peel back the veil and begin to understand how astral projection actually works. What leaves the body? Where does it go? And how do you know it's real? Stay with me. Imagine for a moment that your physical body is a candle. Its flame, flickering and warm, gives light to the world you know, the solid, touchable world of form. But that flame casts a shadow, doesn't it? And beyond the shadow, there is something else. This something else is where the astral body dwells. To understand astral projection, we must first understand the anatomy of the self. Not the physical anatomy that physicians study, but the subtle anatomy taught in esoteric schools. According to nearly all mystical traditions, the human being is composed of layers, or bodies, each vibrating at a different frequency. At the densest level, we have the physical body, what you see in the mirror. But just beyond it is the etheric body, the energetic double that mirrors your physical form and sustains your life force. Beyond the etheric lies the astral body, fluid, luminous, and capable of moving independently through non-physical realms. The astral body is often called the vehicle of consciousness. It is not bound by gravity, space, or linear time. It moves through intent, through vibration, through resonance. And unlike the physical body, which decays, the astral form endures, intact, awake, and ancient. But how does it separate? Think of sleep. Every night, without realizing it, you drift inward. Your awareness leaves behind the dense chatter of the senses and enters a subtler world, one of symbols, emotions, and visions. Most people believe they're just dreaming. But what if dreams are leaks from astral travels we can't quite remember? What if every night you leave your body but return without the memory of where you've been? Astral projection differs from dreaming in one key way. Consciousness is preserved. The practitioner does not black out and reawaken. They stay awake as the separation occurs. It often begins with what esoteric texts call the vibrational state, a rising hum or buzzing throughout the body, as though every cell is being tuned like a string. This is the sign that the astral body is loosening from the physical shell. For some, this feels like a surge of electricity. For others, like floating, spinning, or being pulled upward by an invisible force. From there, the projection begins. The astral form, still tethered to the body by a luminous silver cord, as seen in countless near-death accounts, rises, turns, or rolls away from the body, often floating above it. You may see yourself lying on the bed. You may hear sounds from both the physical and non-physical worlds simultaneously. You may even feel as though you've died, and in a way you have, momentarily. This is why fear is the greatest barrier to astral projection. Fear tenses the body, contracts the energy, and snaps the cord tight. But once the initial separation is complete, a great sense of calm often descends. The world around you may appear like a hazy double of the physical, your room, your house, but with distortions, flickers, or layers overlapping. Other times, you might find yourself in landscapes unknown. Temples, libraries, glowing cities, or endless skies where thought becomes motion. The astral world is not a copy of the physical, it is a malleable realm, shaped by energy, intent, and consciousness. That is why trained adepts can direct their journey, traveling to sacred sites, meeting guides, exploring past lives, or accessing spiritual knowledge directly. But remember, just as the ocean has currents, so too does the astral plane. It is not empty, it is populated by forces both luminous and shadowed. This is why grounding, intention, and inner clarity are essential. Before we dive deeper into the terrain of the astral realms, before we talk about who or what you might encounter, we must understand the subtle mechanics at play and the importance of will, vibration, and energetic hygiene. Because in part 2 of this explanation, we'll explore what determines where you go, what you perceive, and how to protect yourself on the journey. Astral projection is not just a skill, it is a mirror. It shows you who you are beneath the surface. Ready to go deeper? If part 1 revealed how we leave the body, part 2 reveals where we go and why. Once the astral body is separated, the landscape it enters is not random. It's not like stepping into a universal mall with set scenery and predictable features. The astral plane is fluid, alive, and highly responsive to your inner state. It is consciousness reactive. This means that your beliefs, emotions, fears, and desires act as magnets, drawing you towards certain locations, beings, or experiences. The great Hermetic axiom, as within, so without, is never more literal than in the astral world. There are, according to many esoteric systems, multiple layers or zones within the astral plane. Think of them as radio frequencies. The dial you tune into depends on your personal vibration, your emotional, mental, and spiritual state. If you're angry or fearful during projection, you may enter dense, murky regions filled with chaotic forms. These lower zones are often mistaken for hell in religious texts, but they are not punishments. They are mirrors of inner imbalance. Conversely, if your mind is clear and your heart open, you may rise into radiant dimensions filled with harmony, music, and light. These higher zones are the heavenly realms, experienced by saints, sages, and mystics throughout time. In these spaces, one often meets guides, beings of light, ancient teachers, or even higher aspects of oneself. But what are these beings exactly? Some are symbolic projections, your subconscious manifesting in visual form to convey insight. Others, however, appear to possess autonomy, knowledge, and intention. These are the inhabitants of the astral, elementals, thought forms, ancestors, and spiritual intelligences. Some aid your journey, others distract or deceive. This is why discernment is a key spiritual muscle. You must learn to vibrate higher than what you fear. This isn't about paranoia. It's about resonance. You attract what harmonizes with you. That's why experienced projectors often spend time cleansing their energy before attempting separation, through breathwork, meditation, chanting, or invoking protective forces. Think of it as tuning your instrument before playing in an invisible orchestra. Another critical factor is intention. Where do you want to go and why? Wandering aimlessly can lead to confusing or overwhelming experiences. But setting a clear goal, such as visiting a sacred site, meeting a spiritual guide, or exploring your past lives, acts like an astral compass. The astral plane bends to intention. Even movement is not governed by walking, but by thought. If you think of a place with enough clarity, you arrive. But here's the paradox. The more attached you are to the outcome, the more likely you are to interfere with the experience. That's because astral projection requires a delicate balance between focused will and complete surrender. You must guide without gripping, steer without forcing. Some traditions speak of Akashic temples, vast repositories of knowledge where souls can witness the records of their past incarnations, karmic contracts, or even future possibilities. Others describe schools of learning, healing chambers, and councils of light where beings work to assist humanity's evolution. And then there are the void zones, timeless spaces of silence and stillness. No images, no beings, just pure awareness. These states, while less dramatic, are often the most transformative. They break the illusion of form entirely and remind the traveler that all planes, astral, physical, mental, are but garments worn by the one consciousness. And finally, there's the matter of return. Contrary to popular fear, most people return effortlessly. The silver cord, often described in near-death experiences, ensures that the astral body can always find its way back. However, abrupt returns, triggered by fear, noise, or physical discomfort, can result in temporary disorientation, or what mystics call astral whiplash, a sensation of heaviness, fatigue, or blurred perception upon waking. To avoid this, seasoned travelers learn to ease back into the body by grounding, deep breathing, and offering gratitude before fully reintegrating. They don't just crash land, they return with reverence. Because each journey, no matter how short or strange, is a gift. A glimpse beyond the veil, a step toward remembering that you are far more than flesh and thought. And now, we move to the part that you've been waiting for. The techniques, the keys, the practical path to your first conscious projection. Say the word, and I'll guide you into the practical application section.
Let us now descend from the clouds of theory and set our feet upon the inner path, because astral projection, while mysterious and profound, is also practical. Like meditation, like breathing, like walking, it is a skill. And like any skill, it begins not with talent, but with preparation. There is no single correct method for inducing an out-of-body experience. There are many. But all effective techniques share the same underlying components: relaxation, focused awareness, and a subtle shift in consciousness, like standing on the threshold of sleep without stepping through. Step 1. Prepare the temple. Your body is the temple. Treat it as such. Start by selecting a quiet time when the world sleeps, early morning or late at night, when psychic noise is low. Create a space that feels safe and still. Dim lighting, incense, soft fabrics, anything that helps signal to your subconscious that something sacred is about to happen. Lie down flat on your back, arms at your sides. A firm yet comfortable surface is best. Not too soft, you want to remain aware. Close your eyes. Begin with progressive relaxation. Focus on your toes, then your ankles, slowly working your way up the body. With each exhale, release tension. Let your limbs grow heavy. You are not falling asleep, you are descending inward. When the body feels like stone but your mind remains clear, you are ready. Step 2. Enter the hypnagogic state. This is the liminal zone between waking and sleep, a place of strange images, drifting thoughts, and floating sensations. Do not chase these visions. Do not analyze them. Simply observe. You are now approaching what mystics call the twilight gate. Maintain passive awareness. Listen to your breathing. Feel the hum of silence behind it. You may begin to hear subtle tones or feel slight vibrations. These are good signs. You are shifting frequency. At some point, often spontaneously, your body will begin to vibrate, sometimes softly, sometimes intensely. It may feel like electricity, humming, or a train rushing through your spine. Do not fear it. Do not move. This is the threshold. Let the vibrations wash over you. Breathe into them. They are the result of the astral body loosening from the physical shell. If you panic, they will fade. If you relax, they will build. Once the vibrations stabilize, you're ready to separate. Step 4. The exit technique. Here are 3 classic exit methods. Choose the one that resonates with you. 1. The rope technique. Visualize a rope hanging above you. Feel your astral hands, not your physical ones, reaching up. Begin to climb the rope using only intent. Feel yourself pulling upward, slowly and steadily. Eventually, you may feel a pop, a surge, or a floating sensation. That's your exit. 2. The roll-out technique. Simply imagine yourself gently rolling to the side, as if out of bed, without using your muscles. Let the astral body peel away from the physical. If successful, you'll find yourself standing beside your sleeping form. 3. The floating up technique. Picture yourself slowly rising like a balloon. Don't force it, just allow the sensation of upward drift to grow. Feel the pull in your solar plexus. Trust the motion. Whichever method you use, remember, intent is everything. The astral body responds to thought more than effort. Guide it, but do not strain. Step 5. Navigating and returning. Once out, stay calm. Take slow, mindful breaths. Look around. The environment may shimmer, shift, or seem surreal. Try not to control everything at once, just observe. To travel, simply focus your intention on where or what you want to explore. Say it inwardly, feel it clearly, and release it like an arrow. At any point, if you wish to return, think of your physical body. A single thought is enough to call you back. Often you will feel a gentle pull or a sudden shift, and awaken in your bed. To ground afterward, rub your hands, drink water, or walk barefoot. Return fully. Tips for success. Keep a journal by your bed. Write down even fragments, dreams, sensations, feelings. They help reinforce the bridge between realms. Avoid heavy meals before practice. A light body aids a light journey. Set a clear intention before each session. Protection, guidance, clarity. Plant the seed. Be patient. The first success may take days, weeks, even months, but persistence is the alchemy. And always approach the practice with respect. You are entering a world that is sacred, subtle, and intelligent. Treat it not as entertainment, but as initiation. In the final section, we will reflect on the deeper meaning of these experiences and why they matter more than most people realize.
What if death was not the great unknown? What if you could taste its silence, see its light, and return to tell the tale? Not through myth or metaphor, but through direct experience. Astral projection is not just a practice, it is a threshold, a liminal doorway between worlds that most will only approach once in their final breath. But you now have the keys to approach it awake, conscious, and whole. Tonight, you may still fall asleep as usual. The world will seem the same, but something has shifted. You now carry a secret, that the body is not the limit, that consciousness is not confined to skin and thought, that there is more, much more. You've learned of the ancient traditions that preserve this truth in temples, scrolls, chants, and silence. You've explored the layers of the soul's subtle anatomy. You've seen how intention, vibration, and clarity are not just spiritual buzzwords, but precise tools, like levers for the unseen. You've received practical methods to cross the veil and return, not as a tourist, but as a seeker. And yet this is only the beginning, because every astral journey reflects the state of the traveler. As your awareness deepens, so too will the worlds you can access. The astral plane is a mirror, but also a map of your inner universe, your karmic threads, and your highest potential. So what comes next? Try the techniques, stay patient, journal everything. Even small fragments, floating sensations, brief sounds, distant lights, are steps on the path. Eventually, the doorway will open, and when it does, walk through with reverence. There is a version of you waiting in that other world, a wiser, older self, one who remembers. This journey is not about escape. It is about remembering who you truly are beyond time, beyond body, beyond name. If this message stirs something within you, trust that it is not random. It may be a memory, a calling, a whisper from the part of you that never forgot. Now ask yourself, are you ready to leave the body to find yourself? If so, begin tonight. Not with effort, not with fear, but with the simple act of listening within. Because the universe is vast, but the soul is vaster still. If something in you awakened while watching this, it wasn't by accident. These teachings find those who are ready, quietly, mysteriously, and precisely on time. If this video resonated, share your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Your experiences, your dreams, even your doubts, they're all part of the journey, and this space was created for seekers like you. If you feel called to explore more ancient practices, hidden truths, and practical spiritual techniques, consider subscribing. Each week, we dive deeper into the mysteries, step by step, breath by breath. And if you try any of the techniques shared in this video, no matter how subtle the results, write them down. Your subconscious is always listening, and the more you honor what it reveals, the more it will trust you with deeper access. Until then, keep your mind still, keep your heart open, and remember, the real journey begins the moment you close your eyes. We'll see you beyond the veil.